Amplify is back. Don't miss the chance to improve every part of your business by connecting with industry experts, hearing best practices from top dealerships, and learning how to optimize your system for profitability at every turn. You don't want to miss the Amplify experience that is designed to help your dealership improve.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Friday, June 27th, 2025. I'm Jamie Butters, Executive Editor of Automotive News in Detroit.
And I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, second quarter sales may rise despite a June slump. Japanese automakers continue exporting to North America, and dealers ask the Senate to maintain support for electric vehicles. Plus, service and parts experts discuss the need to grow the customer pay business as other parts of dealership operations face economic pressure.
So if you want to stay truly independent, the solid base that you have to have is customer pay and customer retention.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry.
The U.S. auto industry is limping to the second quarter finish line as affordability and availability of new models are increasingly impacted by tariffs. Deliveries in the April through June period are expected to rise about 2% or a little less from a year earlier. But analysts say most of the gains came early in the quarter when customers rushed to showrooms to avoid tariff-induced price hikes. June sales are expected to be the worst of the quarter, with forecasts ranging from 2.5% increase to a 6% decline from June 2024, when a major dealership software outage hampered sales. J.D. Power and Global Data project that June's seasonally adjusted annual selling rate will be 15 million, the lowest in the past 12 months.
Japan auto production and exports held strong in May, weathering the first full month of U.S. tariffs on vehicles and parts. Toyota even booked record deliveries. Embattled Nissan was a notable exception, with exports to North America plunging 42%. Industry-wide, the six big Japanese players saw combined exports from the home market climb 3% in May, consistent with the rest of the year so far. Shipments to North America remained robust, partly because U.S. buyers pulled ahead car purchases before manufacturers raised prices to help offset the duties.
CarMax, Carvana, and other auto retailers are urging the Senate to preserve electric vehicle incentives in the budget bill, arguing that abruptly axing the tax credits would threaten dealerships that have invested in EV sales and service. Automakers have required many dealerships to make large investments in EV infrastructure, including on-site chargers and service bay equipment. The letter reads, "Dealerships like ours have invested billions of dollars as small businesses to serve our communities, to improve EV education, and offer exceptional service. We need a stable and consistent market for our dealerships to plan, invest, and grow." The dealers said tax credits for new and used clean vehicles, the Advanced Manufacturing Production Tax Credit meant to incentivize battery production, and others, quote, must continue even in a reduced form for at least the next several years. The retailers also oppose the annual $250 EV and $100 hybrid registration fee proposed by House Republicans.
And Tesla's new robotaxi service stumbled a bit out of the gate in Austin, Texas. Some robotaxis slammed on their brakes for no apparent reason. One drove into an oncoming lane after a missed turn. Two were shut down by safety monitors in parking maneuvers. And that was just in the first days after the small June 22nd rollout of the service to a hand-picked group of Tesla investors and social media influencers. They mostly shared uneventful rides and praised but sometimes posted robotaxi mistakes. Said Phil Copeman, a Carnegie Mellon University professor who studies vehicle autonomy, quote, "It feels like they launched before they were quite ready." Despite the glitches, analysts said the closely watched rollout marked a step forward as CEO Elon Musk transitions Tesla away from mostly selling cars and toward artificial intelligence, robotics, and services with vastly more profit potential. And those are today's headlines. So, Jamie, second quarter sales may rise despite a June slump. Is this from the impact of tariffs?
Absolutely. Indirectly, but absolutely. In March and April, we saw a huge surge in sales. Consumers were wary. They saw the tariffs were coming, assumed that prices would be going up. So they went out and snapped up a bunch of vehicles, some at some pretty attractive prices. There were some nice incentives by at least some of the automakers. May slowed down a bit, and June is going to be even slower than that. Really pulled ahead a lot of sales, and there's just not as much demand still out there from people with the means to buy a new car.
Gotcha. Coming up, service and parts pros explore the challenges faced by fixed ops departments. That's next on Daily Drive.
Daily Drive listeners like you have access to the lowest price for Automotive News Congress 2025 on September 11th.
The event is where the industry's biggest players tackle its toughest challenges. Congress attendees don't just follow the industry, they lead it.
This year's featured speakers include Hyundai Motor Group Executive Chair Yusin Chung and General Motors CEO Mary Barra.
We are investing in America. We're creating jobs. That's creating IP in this country. And I think, the United States needs to lead in key technologies.
Join us to gain the insights and connections needed to steer your business through massive change.
To get the lowest price for the event, go to autonews.com/events, select Auto News Congress, and type in the discount code Daily Drive, one word, all caps. We'll see you in September in Detroit.
Amplify 2025 is right around the corner. Are you ready? Join the industry's leading innovators this August 18th and 19th at the Ritz-Carlton Dallas Las Colinas and be part of the event that will reshape retail automotive. At this 2-day experience, you'll explore new strategies and fresh ideas for driving real growth at your dealership. Choose from 9 hands-on workshops, each designed to deliver practical insights across every department. Gain forward-thinking perspectives during our expert-led keynote session and leave with actionable takeaways to implement right away. And it's not all business. Amplify also gives you the chance to connect with fellow professionals on the greens at TPC Las Colinas, the iconic course that hosted the PGA Tour's Byron Nelson Championship for 35 years. Secure your spot at Amplify 2025 today by visiting rayray.com/amplify. That's rey.com/amplify today.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Jamie Butters with Kellen Walker. Automotive News and our own Dan Shine hosted a Congress Conversation live stream this week about the state of the dealership, service, and parts industry and the challenges fixed ops departments face. Key topics included winning more customer pay work, recruiting and retaining technicians, building a winning culture, and starting mobile service. Guests were Richard Lupo, Service Director at Apple Tree Honda in North Carolina, Salvo Sparacio, Senior Vice President of After Sales at Holman, and Lee Harkins, CEO of M5 Management Services. Staff reporter Paige Hodder also participated.
To start us off, when I texted you and asked you to be a part of this, I said, what should we talk about? You said back simply, growing customer pay labor.
Sure.
Let's start there. Tell me why that's important.
I think that's a great place to start. What I'm seeing in a lot of stores that I've been in the last 6 to 8 months is that year over year customer pay sales are flat or are dropped. And I think there's a number of different issues on why that's happening. I think number one, in the stores that I've been in, the management and leadership of the department is not focused on generating the customer pay because they were able to get increases in their warranty rates in some cases and their parts markup, and they're getting more gross coming from that category of their business. And customer pay in a lot of stores has become a second tier, so to speak. Well, as you all know, your variable dependency, if it gets too high, then we're susceptible to the fluctuation in new car sales and used car sales. If too much of our business in fixed is dependent on that sale, then we're going to participate in the cycles of the business, and that is what we don't want to do. So customer pay is the one category of labor that we have really, I think, direct control over, and we've got to be on that business, focused on that business like a dog on a bun. and we got to be fighting every single day to keep growing that business. And, I don't have a lot of standards and benchmark. One of the things that I'm finding is that customer pay is, in some cases, a store I was in last week is in the 30s of their total percentage of their business, which means 70% of their business is based on the sale of a vehicle, either future or past. Not a good point to be in, because we all know car sales are going to fluctuate, going to go up and down, and we don't want to participate. So I think that customer paid business is a huge opportunity in a lot of stores right now. It's never good enough. No matter where you are from a growth standpoint in customer pay, it's never good enough. We still have tremendous opportunity.
Salvador, go to you. How are you with customer pay and keeping that as kind of focus on that point?
Yeah, I mean, what Lee's saying is directionally accurate, right? We got to do a little bit more with less. We know there's an impact of some of the last few years with units and operations. And so customer pay is a huge focus for us. We believe that training is a big part of that. Be sure that we retain our customers. Retention is critical to that element. So just getting the fundamentals correct, I think, is something we're continuously focusing on to drive CP labor.
Richard, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, we look at it and say, if you want to truly be independent, and we're independent businesses, when you start letting warranty creep up to 30, 40, 50% of your revenue, that brings a partnership deal with the OEM to a different level. You are much more subject to their whims. It gives them leverage in your business. And so we try to keep it below 20%. We're real comfortable at about 15% of our business. Being in warranty creeps up to about 20%. And then we need to take a look at where our customer pay and our internal revenue is in proportion to that. It's profitable work. It is, across the industry, we have worked to get our reimbursement rates to a very profitable level. And it's candy, it's junk food that you can get hooked on really fast. And focusing on that it can be profitable in the short term, but when it goes away, when you don't have recalls, when you don't have warranty work, you look around and your service drive is empty. And so if you want to stay truly independent, the solid base that you have to have is customer pay and customer retention.
Paige, I'll send it out to you for a question.
Yeah, I have a question for Salvo. You told my colleague, Richard Truitt, that one of the reasons for your service and parts revenue growth is because you guys have been focusing on promoting value over price. Can you tell us a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at in general, what we try to focus on is our client advisor, service advisor training, right? There's a lot of discussions always on price focus. Our customers always look at that as an opportunity to obviously not generate sales. And we focus on measuring how our client advisor are doing. We listen to a lot of phone calls. We have a huge training program around our service advisors because it's hard, right? Overcome objections is not their strength. If you don't train to that, it's a big one for us. And we self-recognize that there was a huge opportunity to focus in this area. At the end of the day, you have to remember price can gain a customer one time, but you might lose them the second time if you don't have the customer service aspect of it. It's really important you nail that part of it. They'll keep coming back. So that's a lot of focus on the training program.
And Richard, one of the knocks against service departments is dealership service departments prices. Guy down the street's cheaper. So I think you're always fighting that price battle. How do you go at Apple Tree Honda? How do you kind of fight that with the customer and kind of let them know that, pricing is competitive, but also you've got good technicians, certified technicians, quality, OEM parts. How do you kind of fight that pricing battle?
We started about 3 years ago creating a brand image for our service for a Honda and Acura brands that we have. We term it rock solid value. We got some mountains, we're over here in Western North Carolina. We call it rock solid value, and it is a value proposition. We go to market with all of our competitive services, oil changes, brakes, batteries, all of the things that are easily tangible, comparative things that our customers can do a Google search and find out how much battery is, what an alignment is, how much alignment costs. All of those very competitive services. We stay highly competitive. We do market surveys. Shout out to Intellicheck. They do a fantastic job keeping us aligned with the market. We've actually found that many times we're among the lowest priced. So just constantly put that message out there, the value proposition. And it can be very easy for a customer that's been to an oil change facility and spent $130 on an oil change. When they see us advertise an oil change, a tire rotation, car wash, certified technicians, a video multi-point, all of those things for $99.99 out the door. The value in that becomes very easily discernible for the customer. So being highly competitive on comparative services is how we go to market.
I like to add, Dan, is, for technology with video MPIs and digital MPIs, you got to be real mindful, not making it too easy to say no. And texting is one of the platforms. You have to get on the phone with a client, making sure you're driving the sale, right? Not just allowing the customer to decline or approve a job through a text, because that becomes a snowball effect on not selling added value.
Automotive News senior editor Dan Shine and staff reporter Paige Hodder spoke with Richard Lupo, service director at Apple Tree Honda in North Carolina, Salvo Sparacio, senior vice president of after sales at Holman, and Lee Harkins, CEO of M5 Management Services. That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Jamie Butters.
And I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Michael Martinez, Molly Boygon, Hannah Lutz, Hans Greimel, and Lawrence Iliff for their reporting for today's podcast. You can get the latest news on fixed ops, U.S. auto sales, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com.
Come back tomorrow for a discussion about new Stellantis CEO Antonio Filosa and his plans for North America.
Filosa is going to maintain his hold on North America operations and the famed, 4 brands, Chrysler, Ram, Dodge, and Jeep.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoy the podcast, remember to leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.